No.
Here we go.
Hey, hey, hey.
Very exciting.
How, Liz, I have a technical question.
A technical question. Hold on.
Yeah, how much of the internet are we on right now?
All
When
of
you
it.
say we're live on the internet, just how thinly spread across the internet are we?
I mean, it depends on how you define the internet. But yeah, we have some presence online.
10%? 10%, you think?
So in the time-space continuum, we are not really very much in the past portion of the cosmic, space-time. So at least not that thinly.
You're already going there. Like we're jumping right for the metaphysical.
Yeah.
We've been doing this on the internet now for a minute.
I wanted to just get a running start.
I mean,
Liz, help us out. What are we here to talk about? Reassure us that we have a lodestar. We have a guiding light, a topic, a discussion point.
Maybe we should say who we are first. We are Door 3. I'm here with Alex Asianov, who's the president of Door 3 and founder, Jonathan Blessing, CEO of Door 3. I'm Liz Flyntz, director of UX and design at Door 3. Maybe one of you wants to say what Door 3 is.
We are a technology consultancy.
Located in New York City, but global. Offices in Kiev. Our topic today is hiring, because this is something that is important to all of us, and
we're doing a lot of it at the moment.
We are doing a ton of it right now, which is, as Michael likes to remind me, a good thing. It's a good problem to have, which is what he told me after he told me that we needed to hire 5 people for UX. And I said, is that a joke? And then he said, remember, this is a good problem. So, yeah, here we are. I'm relatively new to Door 3. This is the start of my 3rd month. We're like less than 10 days into month 3. And already my team is growing by leaps and bounds. Soon we'll be bigger than engineering, which I think is going to be awesome.
I don't think that's really a risk we're running right now.
Oh yeah, we're going to take over.
It depends on how many awards we win in the next few months.
So how should we talk about this? Shall we discuss interviewing styles? Shall we talk about some of our own experiences?
I think it'd be great to talk about the different roles that we need to find people for and how hiring for those different roles differs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think that there are roles that when the consulting company, roles are divided in several different ways. So it's hard to fit it all into one elegant sentence. But there are folks who come in at maybe kind of a mid-level execution role where they're spending most of their time reading requirements and coding against those requirements, right? And they're not spending a lot of time, at least in the beginning of their career at Door 3, asking clients a lot of questions and then getting into detailed strategic conversations. So you can potentially hire for those roles based on sort of discipline level technical skills. So if it's, by technical, I don't mean just technology. If you're a UX designer, it's your ability to be a designer, right? And circumscribed within the bounds of just, understanding what's needed and building that. Or you can look to the future a little bit and say, well, anyone who comes into Door 3 can potentially, even if they're coming in at a relatively like junior or mid-level, they may 6 months or a year later be running a workshop with a client. So what are the qualities that we should be looking for that are going to help someone graduate easily into those additional responsibilities? So that's one consideration.
Why don't you rattle off a few of those, Alex?
So charm.
Charm is key.
Honestly, facility with communication, being able to hear someone is actually probably more important than being able to say anything.
Empathy.
Empathy, being able to hear, understand, get to the heart of what someone is saying, because someone can say a lot of words. I say a lot of words sometimes, but the heart of what I'm saying is often quite, circumscribed. And an empathetic, great conversation partner can often help me get to the heart of what I'm trying to say. And clients very much appreciate it when you can help them get to what's really important quickly, efficiently, and not waste their time and workshop time and stuff like that, right? So listening well, being able to interpret what you're hearing.
So, Alex, here's a particular challenge. So one of the reasons why I often, when I want to be involved in hiring, I'll often write the rec myself, and I'll often do the screening myself, because I find when I pass it off to other people, even very competent, lovely people here at Door 3, what happens is that people fall back on bona fides. They start looking for educational attainment, past experience, and these things often don't map on. They often don't establish charm, as you describe it. I would say empathy. They often don't really clearly signal problem-solving skills or intelligence, or just kind of overall soundness of judgment. So when because these are the qualities that I really try to screen for, even when hiring engineers. 6 months ago, we hired a software developer, and he recently came to me and he remarked that, of all the interviews that he had gone through at all of the places, that when he interviewed with me, he was given no programming questions. None. And he wanted to know why that was. And honestly, I had to reflect on it, because it was instinctual for me. I don't generally ask programming questions. And I think it actually comes from a history of working at places when I was young and kind of getting going in this world. My first interview at the place that I really, really clicked with early on out of college it was a software consulting company called Xware, which no longer exists, sadly. And I remember my interviews there were no programming or engineering questions. They were all kind of they were more or less just logic challenges, and discussions, and kind of open-ended, free-form discussions about books that I had read and ideas. It was a desire to it was an attempt to kind of draw out my logical apparatus and examine it, to strength test it. And I think that's a wonderful thing to do when interviewing folks. So I'm not so concerned about someone's GPA, especially when that was 10, 15 years ago. I kind of want to know what they're like as a person, whether or not they can kind of bring to bear a competence, a sound judgment, and a strong analytical apparatus.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said, Jonathan, but there's another quality that's needed specifically because we're a consulting company, right? And that's grit and pain tolerance, right? And like, I have a visual aid. No, seriously, like,
Do you?
If you want to hire people for a mission, right, you need to tell them what the mission is, right? So
your visual aid it's not going to be like the lacerations on your back, is it?
No, not those. Those are private. But this is from the Shackleton expedition to right. This is someone who knew what the mission was and told possible recruits exactly what the mission was, with making no bones about it, right? Other than small wages, this is very descriptive of of consulting, right? And so I think that if you want glory, you can find it in consulting, but you also need to know what you're getting into. And if you're looking for the 40-hour fixed work week, there's a spot at the DMV, I'm sure, right? But it's not in the consulting firm, right? So you need to be honest with people about what the mission is and screen for
I
people
think
who are
just
looking
before
for
we
this.
scare people, too much,
Mhm.
our office is heated and
Yes, it is.
air-conditioned.
It
So
is.
Yeah, the danger is maybe psychological. There's
And-
very little.
well, there is a terrace. You don't fall off the terrace. And there's food. There are lots of snacks. There are lots of business snacks. There's like
There's that
business
coffee
seltzer.
machine that's
There's-
super complicated. That's potentially dangerous.
Yeah.
You could hurt
So
yourself.
I'm going to remove the scary thing from the screen, right? But I do want to say that we're not sending anyone to the South Pole. That's not. But there is. It's a different work environment, right? And it comes together in the best possible way when everyone's on the same mission, which is to balance these really complicated factors: client needs, company needs, project and team needs, and everyone contributes to that.
I want to draw this out because it's actually, you're helping me make my point. Shackleton, why do we remember him?
Well, because go ahead.
It's
He
for what
actually
he
made it?
didn't do. No, he didn't
Oh,
make it.
he didn't
He
make it?
never made it. We remember him because of his judgment. He got his people back alive. Mostly.
That's right, everybody.
Oh, and there was the other guy who went on alone and disappeared.
Yeah.
Down a crevasse or something.
Shackleton was possessed with a strong sense of good judgment. Well, I mean, you could argue with that, right? Maybe it would have been smarter just to stay home, but he was an adventurer with good judgment. And that actually that's something that I think we look for here too, are people who are willing to push hard, but who don't lose their sense of where they are. And they'll run risks, but not too risky, right?
Yeah.
So Shackleton, he collected his team and turned them around on the cusp of both disaster and success, because he saw that success and disaster were converging.
Actually, that is really a great extension of the point, because that judgment. So, like, if you put these things together, like the fact that this job requires grit and endurance, but also good judgment. You don't want to overextend yourself. We've had some folks who are incredibly giving to clients, very loyal to projects and their teammates, but they put so much of themselves into it, and they don't push enough on the clients that they burn out, right? So you have to be, you have to know yourself and exercise good judgment while doing all these technical things that are complicated and interesting that we all do in our disciplines, the UX design,
so
the
Liz,
engineering.
This was so easy. So this, just in a nutshell, we're just looking for young Shackletons.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the consulting role is particularly interesting in this way, because it does require that you be able to push back against clients in of course, in a professional way. And that's just not true of in-house teams.
You should update the job postings. UX
young
Shackleton.
Shackletons.
Yep, UX Shackletons. Thank you, Alex.
My pleasure.
Thanks, Alex.
Was that sarcasm?
You know what I used to do, honestly, for many, many years, and I think you've heard me say this, Liz. When I used to kind of do my own recruiting, all my job, I wanted to ensure that we were really like early on screening for kind of thoroughness and attention to detail. So the last line of the job posting would always include the instructions to, in your email to the organization, in the subject line, include the number to your favorite XKCD comic.
Oh, I think I remember this.
Yes, and we did this for all the roles, regardless of engineering or not. And this had a terrific effect. So it allowed us to delete 95%
of people who didn't read XKCD.
Yes. Yeah, who didn't read to the bottom of the job posting. They didn't need to know what XKCD was. It was great when they did, because they would always include that in the body of their response. And then we would know we were kind of also hiring from a cultural milieu that would be immediately
of nerds, which is what we like.
of our people. But yeah, that worked well for us for many
I
years.
just want to point out that you just use the word milieu in a sentence. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You know, a good vocabulary does not hurt in this business. You know, you want to be expressive and precise in how you're speaking to clients, and empathy, good listening skills, and if you're in a really strong client-facing role, ability to express yourself precisely and eloquently is always welcome.
And forthrightly. I mean, to reiterate that
yeah.
it's important to be able to not just cave to any client whim that comes along, because it ultimately it doesn't serve the client.
You're speaking like someone who might have been pushed around by a client this morning.
It hasn't
bruises?
happened. It hasn't happened yet today.
Okay.
But it's sometimes it happens by proxy even, you know.
You know, there's I completely agree with the forthrightness, because in the end, one of the things about consulting is that you're trying to solve a problem together with at least another party. There's a whole team and the client team and project sponsors and all sorts of different roles that have different levels of touch point with the project. So it's very, very easy for different people to exist in different realities vis-a-vis the project. And what that means is that people go like this. They never meet on the topic because they're not living in the same reality. Words mean different things. Super dangerous, right? This is how a lot of money gets wasted by clients on projects that fail. So being able to be forthright, being able to call out possible misunderstandings, not in a blamey way, just like, hey, I'm not sure I'm reading you. Like when you're sitting like this, does that mean you're not reading what I'm saying?
So
right?
one of my techniques in screening people in interviews, it's a very simple technique. I always interject esoteric material, just things that don't even belong there, like references to I don't know, history or literature or something. And if the person, it's wonderful, of course, when they're ready to talk about this, but if they're not, that's okay. The test is to see if they ask what it is that I'm talking about. Because if they don't say, hey man, slow down, what is this? I can't trust them to work here.
There's a series of skills around this area that are actually very well described in the book called Flawless Consulting by Peter Block. And we can put a link down below. So don't forget to smash that subscribe and like button.
What did you say?
Smash it.
I
smash
said
that like button.
Yeah, you gotta
Wait,
smash it.
Pause.
That's
Pause.
a new YouTube thing.
Smashing buttons.
I don't know how new it is, Alex, to be honest with you, but yeah, you got to smash it.
Gotta smash it.
See, I'm doing what I look for. I'm asking questions. I don't know what smashing buttons has to do.
It means pressing.
Okay, pressing.
But it has an energetic sense to it when you say it.
Well, yeah, with confidence, with a little chutzpah.
And a great degree of desire to be in on the next episode of
Yeah.
Door 3 TV.
Yeah.
Jonathan, let's talk about when you hired me back in our series Digital Days. Do you remember that? Can we go in the Wayback Machine?
That was a long time ago.
Well, I think it's interesting to think about because I came from the arts administration world. I had been working for mostly a foundation that mostly did arts granting in New York, and that we shared a neighborhood at that time. And we also shared a friend who introduced us. And I was like, I'm ready to do something different. And I really I'd worked in technology a little bit before, but I didn't have any specific experience in this world. And Jonathan took a big risk on me and hired me to do all kinds of things in Series Digital, because there were only 5 of us. So there were lots of different
I think at that time there were more than 5 of us. I think we were about 10 or 11 at that time. But yeah, it was early. But what I saw in you was you were very concrete in the way you spoke. You were very kind of goal driven. You managed me like you are already managing me through the process of hiring you. And I said, oh, this is great. We need more of this. This is a person who wants to bring order where she sees there isn't enough order. So yeah,
There's never enough order.
There's never enough order in Liz's eyes.
What do you think, Alex?
I think I like moderation. I like order, but I don't know if you can see my desk. I hope not, but there's chaos here.
We can't see it. All we can see is the aurora borealis.
Yeah, no, that's good. That animation is saving you, the viewers, from unnecessary angst.
I think the viewers are all guests in the show.
Well, you never know.
I'm glad. I'm happy to be saved. Okay, we got it. Okay, on topic.
We have 10 minutes.
Hiring.
But I want to say also that in my experience, my recent experience with hiring people who've come through some of these very specialized programs that have grown up around the UX industry, is that the training that seems to be prevalent in these programs tends to be very in-house product oriented, I would say. It seems to be more organized around that kind of delivery system.
Tools.
And yeah, and I think often it's not, it's not really directed around the kind of extremely flexible and confident and sort of the ability to learn on the fly that we need from our employees in general, and I would say UX.
No, this is a real challenge for companies like ours, organizations like ours, where when you work at a product company, everybody gathers around the same campfire. You all share the same experience every day, and that's lovely. And there's a lot about that that's very comforting and wonderful. When you're at a consulting shop like Door 3, one of the ways in which we're able to, one of the skills that we have to possess in order to deliver the value to our clients that they seek from us is the ability to go to their campfires. Mm-hmm. To go to their campfires and immediately be comfortable with the way in which they operate, the language they speak, the domain in which their business exists. And so that means that we cannot hire, like at Door 3, we don't screen for like tool specialists. We need something much more profound and fundamental. We need raw intelligence and good judgment. We need people who can pick up a tool set today, master it quickly, and then a new one tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. It's great if they have tool specialties that we need. And sometimes we do need someone who's an expert at some particular thing. But for long-term success, we need what you just described, Jonathan. It's like the ability to move from one thing to another and not be hung up on one particular tool, but instead.
No, we need polyglots. We need people who are able to kind of naturally move among languages and among cultures.
And that's a confidence thing too, in many ways.
Yes, I know lots of people who are entirely capable of this were it not for their fears, right? Because it's not just moving among cultures; it's moving among, business verticals. Being able to walk into a type of business you've never walked into before, and not doubting that you're going to walk out understanding that business well enough to not only build something for them, but to even advise on direction potentially, depending on, of course, the level of the consultant involved, right? So with that confidence, like we, as consultants, we bring lots and lots of diverse experience to any one client firm, right? And that diversity is always useful, right? So there's a lot to lean on when you have the camaraderie and the experiences that you get when you work at a company like Door 3. It's just a matter of like saying, yep, I believe in that experience.
And so it is a particular challenge to kind of interview for, I guess, an alacrity of mind, as well as like an alacrity of spirit, because we need people that do really kind of bring, people who really can kind of make their own weather, that bring some energy, that allows them to kind of, move comfortably in spaces that they have not inhabited for very long. And this is very abstract, but I mean this both for engineers who have to kind of pick up a different library than one they've worked with in the past, or UX folks who work or who are going to be expected to understand a domain and a design system that maybe they're unfamiliar with, to the folks who work in our consulting arm who, who are always challenged every day in this way. So it means really being like looking for people who are highly adaptable.
And I think also having confidence in them. The confidence goes both ways. It's that we want people who are confident in themselves and who are flexible, but we also, when hiring, have to be confident in them. And I think, it requires a leap of faith. Like, we had a conversation today about someone taking on a senior role who maybe hadn't done that before. And they said they were ready, and I believe them. And I think that that's an important thing to do. I mean, I think that's what you extended to me, Jonathan, when you hired me. And I think that turned out well. So here we all are.
All these threads, all these tendrils of different topics are beginning to sort of come together for me. I remember my time sort of coming up through the ranks and going from, like I was a lab technician, tripping over, equipment in the lab, being like this Mr. Awkward right out of college, and getting to a point where like I could open my mouth and speak confidently. It didn't happen overnight, but my experiences in a couple of consulting firms were actually really formative. I somehow my willingness to work really, really hard during the period when I didn't yet have all the right skills, I made up for that with hard work, right? With collaboration with my colleagues, with, doing stuff, to upskill myself when maybe I didn't have everything that it took, and still delivering that project in the way that was necessary. That's what I have seen successful consultants do early on, and that's how they develop that confidence. Because that confidence isn't an empty confidence. It's not built on arrogance. It's built on that type of experience of knowing that you can push yourself and do a great job for your client, right? And after a while, you don't have to push yourself as hard.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. So, are we hiring right now? Should we? I know I am. I don't know about the two of you.
If you go, so we have a website.
We do have a website.
We have a website.
Door3.com.
Yeah, and there's some job listings. There's a career section under About Us, I think.
And currently, we're looking for senior contractor UX roles and mid-level UX designer roles. So if you're out there and you're looking, we're interested. Please send us an email.
I think in a week or two, we're going to be looking for BA roles. And so when I think of a BA, I really think of like someone who encompasses a product in their mind, like a product designer, right? They happen to write requirements in the standard, user story format, but they can envision a product and advise and engage in an interesting way with clients. And so a BA like that is always welcome.
What about you, Jonathan? You got anything?
No.
Okay. So I think we're about to wrap up here. What if people want to get a hold of us to say hi or ask questions or
you ask this question every week as if people are unaware of the World Wide Web or other things on the internet, like email.
They're aware of the subscribe button, but you still got to say smash, right?
Oh, well, they can smash the subscribe button, but they could also email us at projects@door3.com.
There we go.
Yep, that works. Projects@door3.com. That's com.com. Yep.
Yeah, that's com. And there's a period, which is the same thing as a dot between the door3 and the .com. Right? And
I've explained that to my mom. She's making progress.
Okay. We're on the same page then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Good to see everyone.
See you next week.
Yeah, next week.